Hello everyone and welcome to Tales from Sonicon. Today we are hosted by JPO and Christopher164. Ladies and gentlemen, I pronounce to you podcast name in brackets. Sponsored by Anchor. Hello everyone, this is JPL. And of course I'm joined by the lovely... you. I'm prompting you now.
Oh, you're prompting me.
Yes.
Christopher!
Yes, and we are the podcast name in brackets. Yes, thank you. Last weekend we had our Sonicon, like a year in the making here, because, we advertised it on our very first podcast.
Was it?
Yes,
Okay.
we
Wow.
did. And so long ago now, and we finally had the chance to come to Sonicon. Of course, it's the Audio Theater Convention hosted at Liberty University, having panels and master classes with industry guests such as Katie Lee, Phil Lawler, Josh Nicholson's, and other people from Adventures in Odyssey, and other people from Audio Theater Central. So anyway, yeah, we had a fun weekend. Let's just get started.
Are you prompting me?
I'm prompting you.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the first. So are we just like gonna, I guess day by day maybe.
Sure.
So we started off with like the big kickoff, and that happened.
Wow. Not really. No, we start off with me.
Oh wait.
Wait,
Like we had to sign in.
Yeah, we
go on.
We signed in. Yeah, I was the first attendee to sign in.
When did you get there? When did you get there?
I was on campus like at 12.
Yeah.
So, like, by the time like their thing actually opened, I was waiting in front of the desk
For how long?
For like about 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
While they're still setting up. And like 5 minutes before the time, Nelson just looks at me. It's like, John, you can sign in. So, yeah, I'm the first one to officially be signed in and come to the convention.
Nice.
And yeah, that was fun.
I was doing schoolwork.
I
No, I was in class more.
You were in class.
Was that the class I was in the radio station?
I believe so.
Yeah, so yeah, I got out like 30 minutes after class. And
Did you fart in here?
Did you?
No. Anyway, so
Are you okay?
I'm okay. So, yeah, Sonicon. We had our fun times.
And so
That's-
now let's talk about something controversial. No.
No. Yeah.
All right. So did you do the voice for the cartoon and
Yeah.
such?
So, like, I went around the exhibits because there's nothing else to do. Because there was really nothing until, like, the 6 o'clock opening ceremonies that I knew of.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just walking around, just like, oh, yada, yada. And then, I just walk up to the voice thing. I was just looking at the images. But then, I just noticed that there's people waiting in line. I'm thinking, what's this? Turns out they were doing auditions at that time. And so I was like, oh, yeah, I'll come in and audition for that. And so I did. I auditioned for the character Dr. Vile. Which is... what this was that we had this competition where they have this original artwork of a character, and you bring a voice to that character, and so they send the audio to the artist, and he decides his favorites. Then they bring it to the audience to vote for it, and on the final day they announce the winner. I was not one of the ones chosen, but you know what? It was fun. I enjoyed it.
So this is what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
So many people auditioned for Dr. Vile, and not a lot of people auditioned for the other two. That's what I heard.
Well, the problem was that they would only let you audition for one character at a time.
Which upset me.
Because
Because I wanted to do both Old Blue and Dr. Vile.
So the problem that happened because... Okay, so the problem that happened was that when they were starting out the auditions, people were like auditioning for both, but they were like spending like 10 minutes for each person. But that was like way too much time, so they had to like cut it short and just quickly get people through the door. It's like, hey, just audition for one thing at a time. And so yeah, that was a thing. And so people who wanted to do the other character would have to come back in the line to audition again.
So, what is your Dr. Vile voice?
Honestly, I don't remember. I really don't. I don't know what I did. I enjoyed it. It's like
You don't remember.
I don't remember. 'Cause like it wasn't like a voice that I typically do.
I know.
It was just
Still.
like something that I just made up on the spot.
All right, so
It was like a mixture of just so many things. Like so, the design of Dr. Vile was that he has a purple coat, pale skin, a long nose, a robotic arm,
and yellow hair.
a yellow mohawk hair, a mohawk ponytail hair, is what that was.
So, with that in your brain,
Sorry about that. My computer's like really slow right now, so there might be some audio issues that happen in this podcast. If that happens,
I blame John.
You do.
No, I'm kidding. I blame the computer.
Go ahead and blame that. Because
Okay, here's the deal. What's our slogan?
$1 makes all the difference.
And so let's all, donate $1. If, like 1,000 people donate $1,
Okay.
then John could probably get a new computer.
Yeah, but if I were to get a new computer, I'd want something a little bit more extra.
Okay, so if we add our 2,000 listeners,
3,000.
3,000 listeners, whatever.
Get myself a good PC.
What's our average? It was 7 listeners, right?
Yes.
All right, so we're like 2,993 more listeners to go, and then you all can donate $1 each, and then John will have a new computer. Yes.
Pretty much, yeah.
So that's the plan.
Yeah, $1 makes all the difference.
It really does.
In the long run, it does. Oh yeah.
In the long.
Yeah, Dr. Vile. Dr. Vile. Let's see, what did I do? Yeah. I don't remember. So it's like,
Come on, you had something.
so like, obviously, I try to do a mixture. I don't want to do full-on Joker for Dr. Vile because he looks like the Joker, pretty much. But I didn't want to do that. So I want to do something like a mixture of a Joker, but with like a traditional, over-the-top villain. And I think a lot of people had a hint of Duschenschmerz. If you do you? No, you're not. You're not people. You don't watch things, so you won't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
So Dr. Vile is like, I don't know. I honestly do not know what I did. I can't recreate something I don't know.
All right, well then, let's just put you on the spot,
Okay.
and I'm gonna count to 5, and then you're just gonna do a voice.
Okay.
5, or count them, whatever. Whatever. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Finally, my evil robot is complete, and I will do what I must. Yes. That's not what I did though.
But that's good. I like that.
I don't like it. I don't like.
You
it.
don't? Why not?
I don't like it.
Why not?
It's not. It's not prepared enough.
But there's a lot of attitude and character in it.
Sure.
I bet you could.
I bet honestly,
you could refine
it does
but
not work with my vocal cords right now because
That makes
I'm
sense.
straining it right now to do that voice.
That makes sense.
Let's see, Dr. Vile. What
So
did I
if you
do?
were- Okay.
I know that I tried different versions when I auditioned, so I had like a higher, like. Finally, I did my thing, and now I can be something evil like this. Oh, you'll see when I get all this paint on you. Oh, I don't know, something like that.
Okay.
And then I had a more grasp.
Would you like to hear it again?
I really would. I really would.
I can see if I can get it for you because I know the guy who is like
Caleb?
in the yeah,
Ask Caleb.
yeah, I could do that.
He probably deleted all the files, but you know,
I don't know. He probably saves everything, just like
maybe.
all these media people.
All right, write it down. Put a note. Get a reminder. Ask Caleb. Caleb, who works really hard in our industry.
He really does.
Yeah, he works in lighting. He works in sound. He does everything.
He does except video.
Yeah. Well, no, he did video
Wait,
at a
what?
point for a class.
He did? Well, because it was a class.
Yeah, but
So-
no, he can do video. But he does like everything, and he's been doing it since like he was a freshman. You know, we met him like the day we met as well,
Yeah.
and like he had a professional resume. He had everything. He was just a freshman.
I was pretty much just like, why are you going to college?
Yeah, and he's our age, roughly.
I know.
So, very impressive guy. He will go far.
He really will. He just needs a job.
But yeah, I didn't get the audition for Old Blue. I wanted to.
But what would have been your Old Blue voice?
I think Old Blue would have a bit of a southern twang. Maybe a bit of like a George Bush. But he's an older guy, so it's like, oh, my boy here. I've been working on this case for so long. Don't you hear, you little puppy, step away from her. Oh, yeah, Old Blue. I don't know what Old Blue was, but, you know.
So, this was my voice for Dr. Vile. This is a voice I tend to use a lot.
You do.
Yeah, so, I guess, ideally, if I was ever to do...
It doesn't sound evil enough to me.
It doesn't sound evil, what are you talking about? I mean, come on. I imagine, like, a villain who's, like, a little wacky.
Yeah.
But, you know, just, like, it's a little unsettling.
You sound like a really young child.
A really young child? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, because of, like, that little younger lisp that you add to your voice.
Younger wisp.
I think a lisp, but yeah, the way you do that, you know, you make you sound like a younger person or a person with a lisp. Also, you add like a...
No, you just sound dumb.
You add a higher pitch to your voice, and you add that lisp, and makes you sound so much younger.
But, like, this doesn't even sound like, imagine, like, an 8-year-old boy, okay? An 8-year-old boy. Can you imagine an 8-year-old boy sounding like this?
In a cartoon, yes.
Oh, my God.
It happens all the time.
Okay.
It really does. So, yeah, I auditioned for that. I did not audition for Sonic Chronicles.
Okay, so that, like, they did that hand-in-hand with my cartoon thing because no one was auditioning for the Sonic Chronicles, so...
Yeah, because, like, they didn't really advertise that thing really well.
Right, so...
Because, like, I didn't even know that was going on at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, their scheduling was pretty bad.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be honest.
Well, but it had to be the same locations. I
Yeah.
kind of don't blame them, but it was... The cartoons were better advertised.
And, like, yeah, because, like, you had the images that grasp you. But yeah, they didn't really advertise well enough that this was actually a thing that was going on.
Yeah.
Until you actually got to the convention. It's like, hey, we got Sonic Chronicles. I don't know what that means, but
yeah.
Hey, it's fun. But then, you know, there's the New Works, which is really what I wanted to audition for.
Well, first off,
okay,
we're still on the cartoons and then the Sonic Chronicles, and then we'll get to your New Works.
Okay.
But like also Old Blue, like I get it. Like a few friends were like, he doesn't sound old enough. I get it, but I was kind of thinking more like this, just like stern,
like a stern old dog.
Stern old dog.
Yeah.
This is also my dog voice.
Yeah, like
I know it doesn't necessarily sound old, but it's just like Katie Lee.
Yeah, I want. Yeah, I just wanted to give him like an older thing. Like I was maybe like thinking like a really old like, hey now I'm the leader. You will do what I tell you. I don't have the vocal range to perform what I was.
I didn't know the cat was in here.
Yeah, my cat is in here.
Because the cat is always, like, elsewhere. You always, like, tell the cat to leave.
Yeah, well, she's sleeping in here now.
Well, she's not sleeping.
No, it's because we're talking.
Okay, fine. And then for Sonic Chronicles, there was a voice I did that didn't make it, but then also, like, there's this one point where, like, I had to yell.
Oh, yes.
Like, I don't know if you caught it.
I know. I think I know what you're talking about.
Okay, but yeah, I just, like, yelled the 3 lines they used, one of them basically, like, what's going on here? And so, yeah, so I was credited.
I don't think I heard your voice.
Okay, yeah, I mean, if you didn't know, it would be hard to catch.
Because, like, I wasn't really paying attention about whose voice was whose.
We could go back and listen whenever it's uploaded.
Once they finally upload, which they've not done it.
SonicCon is still underway.
You saw that.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Well, no, it's your computer being stupid.
Okay. But yeah, like we're still waiting for the photos that they took there.
Okay, they took down.
Yeah, they took that down, but we're still waiting for the photos. And the Sonic Chronicles. It's not here yet. I've been checking like every few hours.
Okay.
So nothing here yet.
Okay. All right, now talk about the New Works, which I want to hear about.
Well, the New Works, they had first things first though. I actually auditioned for LU Marketing.
Okay.
Okay. So it's like you read a thing for Liberty.
So what? So yeah, go through that. I'm curious.
So it's like they're like getting voiceover for their commercials, mainly I think for 50th anniversary or more things like that.
Okay, I didn't know it was for the commercials.
Well,
I mean, like, I didn't know it was voiceover.
Well, yeah,
Because
like,
oftentimes the marketing is so much like the pictures, not necessarily like the voiceover.
yeah, I didn't actually know it was voiceover till I got there. But once I got there, it's like, oh yeah, it's Sonicon. It makes sense.
Yeah.
To have voiceover. And so for me, I didn't really do so much as like a typical announcer voice. I kind of read it as a more sophisticated version.
You can't even say the word.
I can't say a word. What's going on? A sophisticated version of my own voice. I don't know what that sounds like. Let's say, for the wages of sin is death, but the free gift of God is eternal life in Christ Jesus our Lord.
So they had you read a Bible verse?
No, I'm just reading what's on the screen right now.
Okay.
But we had this thing, this long thing. That's not exactly the voice I was using. I don't recall. I don't remember the things I do.
Yeah.
A lot of times, so...
Well, I mean, you had to read something next.
I had to read something. I pretty much just read it, and so that's what I did.
All right, and then New Works.
And then the New Works,
Which
I didn't
audition for.
I didn't actually audition until like later in the day because
Uh-huh.
by the time I got there, they were out of time. And so the next thing officially we did was opening set. Well, no, I saw you walking around doing things.
During things.
You know, you were just walking around the con, like we saw you. I'm opening up the con schedule right now, just to take a look. It's disappointing that we didn't actually get a physical program for this con, which I understand they're trying to prevent COVID, but really, like, this doesn't really do anything. It's just paper. But yeah, the schedule was on a QR code. You got to click that up. So yeah, the next thing that we did, besides, you know, I was seeing you walking around like with a friend. You're maybe trying to see people.
That was my brother.
Yeah. So yeah, we didn't really interact a whole lot.
Yeah.
During the
I
convention.
figured, you know, we would
Yeah,
talk about this later.
So
and my family's around. I haven't been around them for a bit, so.
And I know that you really wanted to do like your own thing with Audio Theater Central.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had opening ceremonies with a live band, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah. I don't remember what happened in the opening ceremonies. Nelson said some things. Then we had our performance of the Scholar House.
What did you think?
I thought it was okay. I don't think it's the best they've done. Partially because of their concept was like... It's like The Encounter mixed with Saved by the Bell, which is like typical...
Which I never watched.
No, but it's like a teen comedic sitcom, which are very hit or miss. And so...
Is that a hit or a miss, that show?
For what?
Saved by the Bell.
I have no idea. I've never watched it.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
But that's just what Nelson described it verbatim.
Should we watch an episode of...
No, I don't want to watch it. I don't want to watch that, but it's like, yeah, like an 80s, 90s sitcoms. You know, Full House. Not you, but my audience here. Full House.
I know it exists.
Yeah. Like
I don't know.
those type of things. Which... I guess it's written well enough in that style, but I don't really care for that style too much. The performers did a good job for what they did, but it's like... I don't know. Because this is connected to the Encounter series, it's kind of jarring in some aspects, because, you know, I'm part of the final seasons of the Encounter, and so reading the script, it's like...
So you can...
These two things are nothing alike.
Right.
They're way two different things.
Do you know, like, the actual time difference between the two?
A lot. There's a big time difference. This is kind of like a prequel series.
Oh, wait, prequel?
Yes.
Okay, that didn't hit me.
Yeah, you would...
I thought it was an after series.
No, it's a prequel. You wouldn't actually know this unless you read the description online somewhere. when they were auditioning, I think. But yeah, I don't think they let us know that this was a prequel type series. But yeah, because this didn't really fit within the main timeline of our story.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the encounter doesn't have a strong timeline in the first place. I mean, because... I mean, let's look at...
Let's not spoil things, but we do have...
No, but I mean, like, Odyssey, yes, their timeline is whack, but they're more... Not necessarily the fact that they're more present, but, you know, it's contained. While the encounter, and it's not necessarily a spoiler, but, like, a couple seasons are grouped as a generation, and, like, it's like, it in its way, it has that boundary. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So, like, with the Scholar House, like, now I'm knowing it's a prequel thing, like, that's intriguing to me, but at the same time, like, that kind of fits with the idea of the encounter, that it's so far removed,
Sure.
but you could make
Sure.
it tie in weird ways.
Which Scholar House, I think, does tie into the final season just a tiny bit.
But why the final season?
Because
If it's a prequel series.
Because I think the final season we get to visit the remains of the Scholar House.
Oh,
maybe?
really?
Yes.
Interesting.
The ancient ruins of the Scholar House, I believe is the spoilers for a season that's gonna come out in 10 years.
I know.
Uh,
See, it's gonna be 10 years. No one's gonna remember.
but yeah, Scholar House. From the aspect, I think they did a good job performance-wise, but I didn't really care for the story.
Yeah, like, I was listening to the first episode, and I'm just like, this is so uninteresting to me.
It's kind of lame, to be honest, because it's just like they're just people in their high school drama. I've seen enough of that. I don't really care for that.
Like, they're attempting to reach younger people, and I don't really feel like they're doing a good job of that.
I mean,
who they're trying to aim for, basically, this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to not make it intense, but it's still written by college students.
yes, but
So, in the end, they have no aim.
plus they don't really have a coherent story throughout it. It's just like
Drama.
one-off episodes,
Mm-hmm.
episodic adventures, which can be good if you have a good cast of characters. Here, I don't relate to any of the characters.
Yeah, it just seems more like drama.
I only relate to them because I know the actors in real life. So, there you go. But besides that,
Yeah, so, like, after the first episode, like, I was supposed to get my brother dinner, and we had miscommunication with my mom. So, like, during the second episode, we went and got dinner.
okay.
So, like, I didn't even listen to the second episode because I didn't care enough.
Okay.
That's the issue with just, first off, just starting any new show, is that it takes you time to, like, try to get to know
Mm-hmm.
the show and the characters. But I'm like, I didn't want to be mean, but I'm like, I don't even think I'm necessarily even going to listen to the show. And what they had here didn't capture me enough.
Maybe.
So if I ever do listen to it, it's going to be in 10 years.
Yeah, of course. If I ever listen to it, it's going to be much later down the line.
And I feel,
Probably if I, like, show it to someone.
yeah, I don't know.
If I want to grasp a whole timeline of the encounter
If
or
they,
something.
yeah, if they finish it, or just straight up able to do it, awesome. But I'm not holding my breath, nor am I excited for it.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so after that, we had somewhat of an Audio Theater Central episode.
No.
Somewhat. Because not... I
We had JD hosting.
we had like an interview with JD interviewing Todd Boustede, one of the sound energy engineers,
and John
Fornoff for Adventures in Odyssey, and they played an episode, which is just interesting because
Okay, so as one who doesn't necessarily listen to Odyssey,
I never actually really grew up with Odyssey,
Right.
so this was interesting.
what did you think of the episode?
I don't know why they chose that episode.
They chose it because of the sound design.
Yeah, I know why they chose it because of the sound design, but it's like, in terms of like an episode, I think that one, story-wise, hasn't aged the best. Because it's clearly a 90s thing about video games.
Okay. Despite the time.
Despite that, I think it was well done.
Okay.
It was fun. It had its moments. It was interesting.
Yeah, I'm like I get that about the technology timing and aging. Like I get that. I don't blame you. And I know they chose it more for the sound design.
Yeah.
It is one of the more lauded episodes of Odyssey in terms of sound design. And just overall a favorite of many, but it's not one of my favorites.
Gloobers.
It's I mean, like that's a funny name.
That would never be in the game today, I don't think.
Like even, like I don't know, man. Like I felt like it was when I heard about the episode in the first place, which again I've heard this episode a few years ago. I thought it was gonna be a little more lighthearted, and it was way more serious than I expected it to be when I first heard about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, does it have some either light moments or good points?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just not my favorite Odyssey episode.
No.
So,
but I enjoyed it. You know, I enjoyed being in the audience, listening to it, especially watching CJ.
Yeah. Did he laugh a lot?
Oh, like whenever there's anything Odyssey related, I have to look at CJ.
Yeah.
Because like he will laugh, he will just start quoting things and do gestures.
Yeah.
It's like he's a hoot to watch, and
really
I really enjoy his enjoyment of this.
Yeah. For me, the funniest part of the episode was the AOL goodbye. That cracked me up, and I didn't know it was that, but just like that, it was just like after oh, we have to shut this down. They shut it down, and it like all disappears and goodbye. It's just like so lighthearted in that moment. It's just hilarious. So, yeah.
And the panel I think ended a little bit early. I don't know.
I don't remember.
But anyway, I think at that point I went and had some Chick-fil-A real quick.
Okay. What I find interesting though is like a lot of these things and stories, and not just like this panel, but other times when others were talking. Like I've heard at least like half of these stories. So, which I mean, like for those who haven't listened, like it's not haven't heard about it before. It's not that big of a deal. But for me, it's like. Yeah.
You mean the stories that the actors and writers and directors...
some of them I've already heard.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the case, like, with conventions.
Yeah.
Like, you hear a lot of the same stories because people ask the same questions.
Right.
But the thing about it is that you still have to treat it like this is the first time.
True.
Because for me, this was my first time listening to those stories, and so that was entertaining.
That makes sense. What was your favorite part of the episode? If you can remember.
I think it's like the kid being the old man. The old man who's actually a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
But the reason why is because there's a character in the encounter who has the same voice as that old person. And I just couldn't stop thinking of that character because, he's such a fun character in the encounter. Which... no, you wouldn't know that character because he shows up in season 5. So yeah, that's that.
All right, then it was break time. Then we had
the Joshua Nicholson keynote panel,
which is when I auditioned, so I missed most of his.
Okay,
so you go.
Just basically, he was just saying, "Hey, I'm a voice actor. I got these things later today." I don't remember what he said. It was mainly like a Q&A panel, for the most part. But, yeah, he was basically going over like who he is, what he does in the industry, what jobs you can do in this industry, and whatnot. And then just Q&A from the audience. And yeah, that was only for like half an hour, so they have to be quick about that. And then after that, I just went to the late night activities where I auditioned for the New Works.
Talk about that.
All right, so like you have like a set of shows that you can audition for, which I don't know if I really liked that process, but I just picked one, went in and did the audition, which I don't really think I did that well.
But you got it.
I got a part, which the person who casted me was casting people who, he was somewhat familiar with, who, mainly pretty much everyone who he chose has worked on the Encounter before because he's working on the Encounter as well. And then there's John Burstein.
John Fornoff.
Yeah, John Fornoff. So John Fornoff, he cast him as well.
Yeah.
Because John Fornoff just walks in and it's like, hey, can I audition for something? And so he was just like, yoink, I'm going to take this guy.
Yeah.
Because, why not?
I don't blame him.
Yeah. So, yeah, we had that audition for the New Works. And I think after that, I didn't really go to anything else, so I just went out. Because you stayed to listen to the Audio Theater Central live podcast, I believe. And so, yeah, tell me how that went.
Yeah, it was fine. There were only like 12 people in the audience, which was a bit of a bummer. But I kind of get it, especially as Bill is late night and ATC.
It was like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So.
And like more people are there for Odyssey than ATC, which I guess. It's not to say ATC is not unknown, but at the same time, what's going to beat it? Odyssey. So, it was good. They interviewed the lady who spoke on Sunday. I forget.
The lady who spoke on Sunday.
Remember Chris Nelson brought out the lady to speak for like 5 minutes. They showed that video. I forget the name of the ministry.
Abide?
No.
No. Was it was it like the ministry like Rivercross?
Yes, Rivercross.
When was this? When was that?
Well, she spoke on Sunday.
Morning?
Yeah.
Like church trippers?
Yeah.
I showed up late.
I forget when you showed up.
I showed up like the last 15 minutes.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, okay, so you weren't there.
Yeah,
so Rivercross, so basically she was basically the main guest on the Audio Theater Central podcast.
Okay.
So, and then at the end I said something there, so that was fun.
And of course Nelson mentions you.
He did.
In like opening sermons is like, hey, thanks to like Christopher Patty, we have Audio Theater Central. I got to learn from them. It's like, oh, that's nice. You get your own thing.
I know. That was so cool. So, I don't know, man. That, this makes me happy.
Happy for you.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then,
There's always, here's the thing. Whenever you're at, especially if it's like people you always are low-key just hoping like you get mentioned or something like that. Like, we're always like that.
We're always like, I hope we get mentioned.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I hope to be mentioned.
Exactly. It's so selfish, but it's so human.
It is so selfish, because it's like, I want recognition.
Yeah.
For something I didn't deserve.
Yeah, I know nothing's going to come of it, but I still want recognition.
Like, just casual recognition.
Yeah, why not? And then it happened.
It did.
So, I mean, especially because, like, I didn't do any, like, the New Work stuff. Like, I'm like, because I wanted to do, the cartoon thing.
Yeah.
New Works, I'm kind of glad straight up that I didn't, just because of, like, the added responsibility of, like, the auditions and stuff. And I was kind of just, like, with my parents and, family and such. So, I'm kind of glad I didn't. And also, plus the scripts could have been stronger. So, also, I'm extra glad I didn't.
The scripts definitely could have been stronger. I mean, like, I'm just saying that because, I wrote a script, I submitted it, so I'm still just kind of...
Salty?
I can try not to compare theirs to mine, but in some small cases, I'm like,
yeah,
mine's better. I don't mean to be rude, but it's like...
I don't blame you.
Yeah, I think mine's better. I don't actually know how the reaction was, like, what the reasoning is. But I don't actually know what happened, so I don't know what the critique was.
At the same time, the idea of the New Work stuff is a super cool idea. I'm just glad I didn't.
Yeah, it was a good idea. But we'll get to that later.
Yes, we will.
But yeah,
that's that with
during the first day. I met with a couple people.
Okay.
I met a couple of new people.
Okay, so yeah, there was one person I met on the first day. So. There's a website called AIO Wiki, which is basically like the Wikipedia for Adventures in Odyssey. It's very detailed and super cool. But yeah, he kind of works a bit with them. I had seen his name around because I was kind of involved in the Odyssey community for a time, right? I had seen his name around.
but I never really interacted with him. Apparently, he had also seen my name around. So I see him wearing his AIO Wiki shirt, so I go up because I want to talk to him because, like, oh, you work with AIO Wiki, and he looks at me, he's like, wait, I recognize that, pointing at my mask, because my mask has my 164.
Mm.
He recognizes me, man. It's like...
That's sweet.
It is cool.
Yeah.
So we kind of, like, hit it off a bit, which is cool. But here's the thing, like, I don't know what you think about my logo, but a lot of people... We've talked about logos, but...
Logos, yeah.
Yeah, so I've mentioned it. Like, a handful of people tell me, like, you should change your logo.
Mm-mm.
No, like, did I adjust my logo?
Yes.
Yeah, I showed that.
Yeah,
to you.
like, here's the thing. At this point, you cannot change your logo.
Yeah.
Because it's already been known.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing about companies. They cannot change their logo drastically. Because if they do...
can. I'm not saying it's
No, but if they do, it becomes unrecognizable, which is a big no-no in designing logos.
Mm-hmm.
You have to keep a basic, simple design.
Mm-hmm.
Like Facebook, they're constantly changing things. But what's the common thing they have? Blue background with a F.
F.
And that's their logo.
Right.
They've changed the shape of the background. They've slightly changed the color, but it's still blue background with a lowercase f in it.
Yeah. So, like, with the case of mine, this is what I say. There's never a right time to change a logo. There just never is. Ideally, if I'm still, like, starting out, like, I have, like, no traction, like, I could probably go through a lot of revisions and try to find my footing.
Mm-hmm.
But, not to say I'm the most popular, I'm really not. I do have 1,000 YouTube subscribers, which is cool, even though I'm not really active with YouTube right now. But my logo has basically been seen at least 1 million times on YouTube.
And it's recognizable.
It is recognizable. And, like, I've been using this 164 for at least 5 years, if not longer.
Mm-hmm.
Has it gone through a revision? Yes, I revised it this year. The only time I did, and I just only made it look better because I had to adjust the spacing. The green, the glow, the font, like, I mean, I get it. Like, some people, they've told me they're not crazy about the logo. That's fine. That really is okay.
Yeah.
Like, there are some people who aren't going to like things. That's the case with any logo and any brand.
Yeah.
You're
always
like, going to find something to critique about
it's
something.
like we can't all have like an iconic design because there's only so many things that you can do. Like there's how many people in this world? 7 billion?
Something.
They each have their own logo. Let's hypothetically they each make their own logo.
There's going to be some overlap.
Yeah, like
I mean, like, and then like someone's going to hate something about something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, another thing, like, when I've talked about popularity, the only other good time to change your logo is when you are actually popular. I'm not saying, like, we can go through all these things, Google,
sure,
Pepsi, whatever, and we could critique their logos. But here's the difference between them.
Gmail.
Yeah, I don't like that new thing.
No.
No,
ew,
I don't like it.
Ew, okay.
Anyways,
Move
but
on.
here's the thing about, like, those companies. They actually are big and they have an audience.
Yeah.
Me, no. If I'm to change something, I've lost that recognizability, right? Like, if I change that 164, my YouTube avatar, and even thumbnails, then people are going to be like, you know, this doesn't match, this is different. It's going to be unfamiliar, and there's that. Whether my logo is left a positive or negative impression, more of me. If I've left a positive or negative impression on a person, they're not going to remember it once I change that logo.
Yeah.
So I like it. If some people have told me it looks really simple, plain, and dumb, but then I could probably turn around and ask them to make the same thing, and I bet half the people can't. Anyways, like, maybe it is a little easy to replicate, but at the same time, like, I've done some things where I feel like it is a little harder to.
Now, like, do we really need to go all out and have this
No.
Fantastic design? No.
And honestly, here's the thing. These days, what's the key? Simplicity. If you look at like the evolution of many logos over time are just getting simpler. Especially utilizing a flat design. No bevel, flat. My logo is flat. It's simple. And honestly, that almost checks all the boxes of logo these days. So I don't know, man. So it's like, I'm happy with it. It's recognizable.
Yeah.
Someone who I've never interacted with before, but we've seen each other, our names about. He recognized me. And so yeah, sorry. Sorry about that on and on. But basically, in the end, that night, I'm like, I'm not changing my logo.
But yeah.
Not for a long, long while. And you'd have to convince me hard to find something good.
But yeah. We met people, like new people.
We met people.
And like we hit it off. We followed each other throughout the convention, which is nice. I don't actually have any of their information, so we're never going to see each other again.
You should have.
Very likely.
Well, the guy I met, he actually goes to Liberty, so I'm like, I'll just find your Liberty.
The people
email.
I met don't.
Yeah.
So
why didn't you get their information? Gosh darn it.
I didn't ask.
Well, that's dumb.
I was just too busy having fun with them that I forgot to ask.
It's so dumb.
Yes. Anyway, we move on to the biggest day of the convention, Saturday, filled with our master classes.
And I was kind of sick that day, so I missed the first two. So.
Yes, and so I showed up.
I was sick the previous night, so I slept in. Anyways, go on.
I showed up to my master classes. I went to a few. Let's take a look at my schedule. First one was creating a character, which I don't know what I thought. I thought it was like creating a character writing-wise. It was just creating a character.
I guess because you didn't necessarily see, Katie Lee. You knew who she was. I bet like the people who knew who she was be like, oh, that's acting. But for you, it's just like, okay.
But yeah, like I don't know what I thought. Sometimes actors can be writers. But it's like I thought we were creating a character, like writing wise, but instead it was just like vocal wise, which is like, oh, okay, that's still.
Did you glean anything from it?
What did I glean from it? Did I write down notes? It's a sport. That's a thing that you come out of it. Voiceover is a sport. Yeah, put a lot of energy into it. You gotta study people, read the description. You gotta read the script thoroughly. Some things I already know, but it's really cool. It's really nice to just.
Be reminded of.
Just be reminded of, and just be like, yeah, this works.
It doesn't necessarily feel like preachy or down the throat, but it's just like.
So yeah, she gave this thing, and then she had a volunteer come up and do something.
And did the person butcher it? Tell me about that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, she had this panel twice, and so from my understanding, both times they were just so cringy. Which is a staple of conventions. It's going to happen. Whenever you get a volunteer, whenever you get people to ask questions, you're going to have those people who don't understand what they're doing or what they're saying. And so, like, she's like, can you describe this character? She gives him a sheet of paper with, an image of a character and a full description of it. And he's looking at this and he's giving, like, all these details. And Katie's like, and like he's just giving all these like big things. He's like, okay, so what does it say in the paper? Like, and so he reads the thing. It's like, okay, he's dumb, and then he's dumb. Like, oh, and he's dumb. It's like, yeah, it says dumb 3 times, doesn't it? So you think he's dumb? So yeah, he clearly didn't read the description, and so it's just like that, and it's like, oh, she's really bringing it out to him, and so like he does his thing.
I mean, in the end, it's an industry. So,
yes, and like
you need to know the stuff if you want to.
He does his thing. Like she coaches him a few things. He does it not the best, honestly, and then he's about to walk off, and it's like, so yeah. She kind of goes back to her sport. It's like, so yeah, this is a sport. Like, yeah, put a lot of energy into it. Like, am I right? Like, this is a lot harder than his work. He's like, oh, no, I do sports all the time. And so it's like, no. Everyone in the audience was just thinking, no, bud, no. That's not your response. Your response is, yeah, it's kind of like a sport. Yeah, your point is correct. No, I do sports all the time, so it's like normal for me because it's not about you, bud. It's about the example. So there's that. I forget what the second one was.
Well, then look at your time.
I wasn't there. No, I forget what the second example was for a second panel because I wasn't there, but I heard from it.
Oh, I was there, so I'll get to that.
Oh, you were there when that happened?
Second one.
Okay.
I heard CJ was there.
For the first one?
Or second one?
I don't know. But anyway.
Second masterclass block.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to go to the writing for radio, but...
Which one?
Writing for radio, and the 9 o'clock one.
Oh, but that was the same time.
But that only came up once, so I didn't really go to that.
I mean, if it was a Scholar House and Encounter Writing team...
I'm
being mean.
Sorry, but the Encounter Writing team is pretty good.
No, true.
But they're probably like telling you how you write things differently. Because I don't know.
So I signed up for Todd Busted's, and I didn't go. I'm really bummed because I heard it was really good. I'm really bummed.
Yeah, everyone went to Katie Lee, pretty much, and like he even said like the day before, it's like, yeah, come to me, you 3 people who signed up for my class tomorrow morning, because I know everyone wants to see Connie. So yeah, my next class was Other Side of the Mic with Phil Lawler.
And how was that?
It was really good. He was really, for the most part, he was talking about creating a story, like with a bit more of the writing. Like he says, like plot, character, communication, presentation, theme. These are all important things. He explains different things about plot, your setup, your character, form, not formula. Know everything about your setting and characters, and that exposition is to be used as ammunition and not just exposition. Anyway, and then research was a big thing about that, which it was a fun panel.
He hammered that a lot the next day.
On the sermon?
No. During the panels.
Okay, and so what's the next one was? What was it? Storytelling, tackling the hard stuff, which was with Rivercross, I believe.
Okay, that actually seems like.
I think it was Rivercross, the African.
Yeah.
So they were just telling like, hey, you can tell your stories and you can actually tackle some really dark stuff. And so like they were like giving examples. They were showing clips, and like there's like this insinuation of just things like dark things were happening. It's like, huh, interesting. That's pretty good. I'm glad someone else is having the same idea of wanting more mature things as well. That's mature like mature concept wise and mature written wise. Like not just let's do all these
Scholar House.
No dark things and just swearing just for the sake, swearing just to make it more mature. But it's like it's mature and mature. That's the best way I can describe it. Honestly, it wasn't the best presentation. They had computer issues, which means we had like a minute or two of just silence and just staring at them trying to fix things, which I really wish they would have just
talked.
Like, okay, well, I'm going to talk about this. They did get to that eventually after like 2 minutes, but it's like, come on, guys, we're on the clock here.
So I went to the Katie Lee.
But yeah, they're also saying like when you write your hard stuff, don't forget to give some light moments, because if it's too hard, then it's like too much. Like you really just can't stay. And they were also saying in Christian media, which is a good thing I like that they brought up, because a lot of Christian stories aren't that great. But they were saying like you really should tell a great story, and because of that great story, you must earn the right to preach. Which is really good to hear, because everything's just preachy. Yeah. And on to you. What did you do?
I was actually signed up for the same one, but as I was walking over to green, I misread my tag, and I simply saw theater, because it said Black Box Theater. It said just Tower. But I saw theater, so I walked into the Tower Theater and saw Katie Lee's instead.
See,
Box theater.
yeah. So I just saw theater. So
Oh,
I went
my.
to the Tower Theater.
And so you saw Kid Lee. So how did that go with Kid Lee?
It went fine. Like voice acting. Now it's not something like I'm super passionate about. It's like if I do get to do it, I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not something I'm actively pursuing. It's kind of like, so I remember like when I first came to Liberty, I was kind of like down between like a few options, and basically 2 of the 5 was theater and audio. And I'm kind of like, I feel like I want to learn more about the skills of audio if I'm to act.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily I'll wing it, but I feel like I'm not the worst out there for one who hasn't learned anything. Now, I'm not trying to sound prideful, but it's like I'd rather try to learn some more technical skills and something that I feel like is more guaranteed for a job. And then if I have to act for somebody, I could just do it.
Mm-hmm.
That was my perspective in coming into Liberty. So yeah, I don't consider myself an actor. I don't. But if you want me to act, I will, basically. Anyway, so, no, she had some good stuff that she shared. I mean, you want the same thing? I can't remember a lot of the specifics. I have the paper that they handed out.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some good things. And, again, I feel like the thing that is hammered, that she hammered, but also, like, I know, like, Phil Lawlers talked about, like, when they created Odyssey, they created a story for Mr. Whitaker. Like, they basically wrote, I think, like a 12-page biography on Mr. Whitaker so that, you know, they could be able to, you know, do his character.
Mm.
And so I think she said the same thing. Like, she has to, you know, either she writes, you know, something to, you know what to do, or...
Let's open that door for her.
Really?
Yeah, the girl, she wants to go now.
She wants to go now?
Yeah.
But the cat is so cute.
Yeah, she's so cute. But, you know, she has to go,
Okay.
and she has to go. Finish your thought.
Or, you know, she's given a story to go off of, and how instrumental that is to acting. And so I thought that was really important and oftentimes very overlooked. So I like that.
And so how was the example?
Yeah. So do you remember the random audience participant who kept taking pictures throughout the stuff?
Meaning?
Like, there was just someone in the audience who kept randomly, like, taking pictures.
You know, with like a huge camera?
I mean, yeah, basically.
With a professional camera?
Professional camera.
No, I believe... Was he wearing like a dark shirt?
I don't remember what he was wearing,
stubble.
but he wasn't a staff member.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
Are you sure?
because he would have been wearing a SonicCon shirt.
Not necessarily.
But it wasn't a pure black shirt
Okay.
also. So, he wasn't, he was a convention goer. He wasn't.
Okay.
So I really don't think he was.
Well, I don't know. If you were talking about Tyson, I don't think you know Tyson.
I don't
But
know.
Tyson was one of the main photographers who was taking all the pictures. There's also another girl who's going the panels, taking pictures.
Uh-huh.
And then there's Jenna Gregory who takes
Okay, so
pictures.
does Tyson wear glasses?
No, he doesn't wear glasses.
Okay, so yeah, so this was a audience member constantly like taking pictures.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just like for example, like on Sunday, like while Phil Lawler's
Technically,
talking,
we're not supposed to take pictures.
exactly. And it's like, so Phil Lawler's talking, giving his presentation. Basically, I don't think it was the same presentation, but
No.
a little more spiritual. He's giving a presentation, and that one guy is just like taking pictures, and you hear it echoing throughout the.
At least there's no flash. Like that's
I don't think there was.
like
He might have had flash on at one point.
okay.
But it's just like, bro, we're trying to listen. If you're to want to take a picture, use your phone. Unless you're on the staff, then you could take pictures, but you're not, so please not take pictures. Kind of annoyed me.
Like just take one. Just
Yeah,
one,
maybe just one.
one,
But
you know?
not like 15 throughout the whole time.
Yeah, 'cause like honestly, how many pictures of this one panel do you need? Like if if you're taking a video,
If you're a photographer, like, I get that idea that you want to take several. Like, I always like to take at
Yeah.
least 2 pictures whenever I take a picture of something, just in case. Typically, the second picture is always better. But at the same time, you are not part of staff, so just don't.
do it on your phone also.
Yeah.
So
CJ snuck in some photos, that's for sure.
So he was the guy who auditioned during Katie Lee's thing. I hate to be so mean.
Oh
My God.
no. Okay.
Yeah, same guy. So yeah, he just didn't get it.
That makes sense because it's like.
I'm like, bro.
But here's
just
the thing.
like,
Yeah, I like so the staff, like, we were having lunch together and it was like, man, I really wish some theater students would do it. But here's what the theater students, because we were talking, it's like, yeah, we didn't want to because we want to give other people a chance.
yeah,
And so we do that, and it's not the best. Because they're not as,
good.
well, I don't know how skill level they are,
Mhm.
how much practice they had with this, but they clearly were not getting it,
Yeah,
which is a shame.
that hurt. Like, I really wish there was actually someone who was good.
Yeah. Then moving on to the next panel. I go to Real Effects with Josh Nicholson.
Okay.
I really like this panel.
Okay.
Like, these are my notes.
Okay, that's all I know.
That's a lot of notes. Like, almost a full page of notes. Josh has a lot of information to give, and they're really good information. And this one is basically talking about your demo reel. And interesting enough, his main thing that he said was, don't get a reel
Really?
unless you're prepared to compete professionally.
Hmm.
And also after you've had your thumbs up from your vocal coach.
Hmm.
Because if you submit a bad reel, then it's bad for you. Because people will hear that and they will understand that as you. And it doesn't matter if you like have a later one down the line. They've already heard you.
Hmm.
They know what you sound like
Hmm.
from that bad reel. And so that helps you lose some jobs. So yeah. So that was interesting, which is really interesting. I like that.
Would you say you have a vocal coach or not?
I don't. Which is another thing that you'll learn is like, oh, you should always get a vocal coach. It's like, wow, that's interesting. I'm going to get one one day. But yeah, that was interesting as well. Cool. I guess it makes sense. And it's not only just get a vocal coach for a specific genre of what you're going to. Because you got commercials, you got audiobooks, you got anime, you got video games, stuff like that. And each of them require a different level of skill. And so you should like learn those different genres from people who are professional in those different genres. And so like there's so much information you got out here. Really good things. Like it's really nice to hear that.
Well, I'm glad.
Like I learned some things and it's like, okay, I don't want to make this mistake.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Yeah. Yeah. And so then I go to his next panel.
Wait. My turn.
Okay.
So, in this block, I went to see Clifford Stummy, a.k.a. the Pop Song Professor, as he talked about podcasting, which I kind of had a feeling like a lot of this, like, I would be somewhat familiar with, but it was still kind of good, and he gave some insights which I thought were good. Basically, his main thing was, like, the first part was, like, you have to have a good, like, foundation for your podcast. Like, what's your idea? Make it unique. Unfortunately, like, and you were like, you know, tell me what you heard, and I will. But at the same time, our podcast is more just like like two friends' hobby, and you're not really looking to grow this thing, are you?
No, not really.
Yeah. So this is literally just for us to like connect, and we're just recording this because you don't talk unless there's a microphone on, and so like
It seems that way.
This is like the only time where we're really able to like connect.
Unless there's a microphone on or unless you're asking me questions.
And then he just gives the simplest answers, so I just
Because
stop asking
I
questions.
don't want to reveal too much.
So
I'm so stupid. Yeah.
So, like, I'll promote it occasionally, right? It's not that I don't want to. I just forget to promote. But like, you know, it's like you are not looking to grow your podcast in the end, basically.
Like, down from
Not
even
100%.
Not yeah.
Maybe like 20%.
Like even down to the name, it's not even easy to find.
No.
So
No, like the name isn't really meticulously figured out. It's just like
it's cute.
it's a reference to an old joke
Right.
and like a tribute
So
to the past.
I bet one day if you were to really be serious about it, then you would change things up.
Probably not.
Then you would start a new podcast.
Or I joined someone else's podcast would be the case.
Anyways, John's really complicated with his podcast. So
I
basically,
am.
this podcast is basically everything your podcast should not be.
Yeah, I figured that was the case, but I don't care.
Yeah, because I knew. That's the thing. You were like, tell me what you learned. And I knew. I was literally thinking, John is not going to care. I could tell him all these things that he would agree with, but he won't care because he's not going to change this podcast.
Well, yeah, because like I'm not wanting to do this professionally.
Right.
I'm just doing it because it's fun.
Exactly. So I'll go over some things he said and then some things that I'm thinking about as I may potentially start my podcast once I graduate because I don't want to do it right now. But basically, my audience think is a purple cow. Like when you're driving on a highway, you see cows, like, oh, that's a cow, cool, and then there's just a bunch of cows, and you're like, oh, it's just cows, but then there's a purple cow, and that stands out from the crowd.
Okay.
Basically, like, make your podcast stand out, and especially from the title. The title is where it all starts, and he's like, make a 10-word description of your podcast that you kind of narrow it down, like, this is what it's based on, you know, like, he recommends some books and such. He also said if you aim at everyone, you'll hit no one, which is solid. It's like focus on that niche. Lots of other things like technical things. So like looking at me, like my idea of podcast, I actually wrote down my 10-word description. My 10-word description is small YouTuber interviewing friends and celebrities about life and faith. And I prefer celebrities and friends.
Well,
whatever.
that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So, here's some issues with it. It's very broad. And it's ultra niche. Broad in the sense that I could be interviewing anyone. Ultra niche in that the biggest selling factor is me. And honestly, that's kind of how I'm kind of looking at things, is that, maybe the person who's on will share the podcast. Maybe I might gain an extra listener or something. But, like, that's not necessarily enough to really, like, blow it up. Ideally, because especially me, I don't necessarily have that brand that I can, like, have a devoted podcast audience following. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do I have a brand? Yes. Is it strong? We can argue no. I'm still growing, and plus I haven't been giving, enough attention to my brand since February, basically. Which also, Pop Song Professor himself has kind of been in that rut a bit with his channel. So, it kind of feels nice that we both are kind of in that spot, that we both relate in that. But also, like, that everyone thing, like, there's so many people I want to interview. And I feel like this is the one thing I feel like I kind of have thought about a lot of, like, how I could change it, is that you want some sense of consistency with a podcast. Not just release, but also thematically. And so I feel like at first I should kind of start that way with who I interview. So, like, again, I bill myself as a metalhead. I bet there are people out there who could argue that I'm not a metalhead. For me, it's basically how I define it is that's the main genre of music I like.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me a metalhead. That's my opinion. I bet other people will be like, you listen to other things, shut up. But I could maybe interview more people in that space. People who are more involved with the metal music scene.
that could help the podcast be a little more unique. And maybe as I grow it, then maybe I could expand, but then also I could lose that audience. So it's a very weird place to be. So it's difficult in the end. So yeah, the things I'm considering, but also I feel like if there's a place I actually would want to try to grow a brand, it's the YouTube channel. And then I started thinking about this and applying to my YouTube channel. I should be more consistent with content, and he even referred that with his channel. He's like, I started doing a lot of different things when people were trying to subscribe for one thing, and they became disinterested because I wasn't giving them enough what they subscribe for. So it's just a lot to chew on. So anyways, that's kind of that. Master Block 5.
Yeah, the last one.
With Josh Nick.
With Josh, jump-starting your voiceover career. Another really good panel. Main things to come out of this is that you are a business. You got to sell yourselves in your genre that you do. And it explains like voice acting as kind of like a sport, but it's basically different genres are different genres of dancing. So some things like commercials are like a tap dance because they're so technical. Like you have to have the perfect like rhythm, quick pace. You have to nail it perfectly. Then he explains, oh, you do these voices in this dance, this voice in this dance, and whatnot. He also explains that you need to get a teacher.
Do you have a teacher?
I don't.
Okay, gosh darn it.
So I could, if I wanted to, apply to have Josh be my teacher, but that's a money commitment.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm in school. If I were to get a teacher, it would be after school.
Yeah.
He gives some sources to help things out. Networking is a big thing. He also said that a lot of this industry, it's all about your relationships and who you know.
Yeah.
Because who you know can help get you places and get you jobs. And yeah, that's the main thing I have written for this.
And then for me, honestly, I really probably should have gone to Todd Bastide's, but I didn't. I went to see JD's masterclass on telling your story. I went there more because I wanted to support him as much as I liked it. And also, like, he quoted one of our friends, which was super cool. I sent that to him, my friend Chris Green. He was really excited to see that. But at the same time, looking back, I kind of really wish I went to Todd Bastide's because I feel like I actually would have learned there with the JD's thing. Because I've kind of listened to Audio Theory Central and kind of I know ideally kind of what he's looking for. It was kind of rehashed information, not gonna lie. Again, his thing is good, especially if you want to try to make stories, but that's not necessarily in my field. I'm not really good with the stories. So there's a mix of like, I'm really glad I went to support him, but also a mixture of regret in that I could have actually learned something at Todd Bastide's. So.
And then we had lunch.
Oh, also he gave some stats at his thing, which was really
nice.
cool. No, we had lunch a couple sessions ago, but yeah.
Well, no, this
No.
Oh no!
lunch break.
Yes, sorry. We had lunch earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Chick-fil-A mainly for me. You had pizza, I believe.
I thought that was dinner.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. After that, we had the encounter panel,
Mm-hmm.
which is mainly just a Q&A, which is nice. Seeing the original cast come in because
Mm-hmm.
I'd heard so much about them.
Yeah.
It's like nice to see them.
Which was cool, but at the same time,
Again, it's self.
it was an hour, and I'm like, you could have cut that down.
It's self-promotion.
It really was.
Like, I don't think the encounter was like widely known enough for its own panel, but I get what they're going for.
It just should. I think if anything, should have been half hour.
Yeah.
It was just too long.
Yeah. Anyway, after that, you had.
I was bored at the end. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
All right. Did you do any of the listening sessions
Well,
or the writing?
so like after this, you had the big event of Cookies with Connie,
Mm-hmm.
which most people went to. I didn't because you got to pay $15 for it.
and you didn't know who Katie Lee really
It was like I didn't want to pay the extra money.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't really know Katie Lee. It would be nice though, but I don't really know.
I don't
her.
blame you.
I didn't really grow up with Connie, so you know, I know that other people would enjoy it more. So I went to the listening lounge for the encounter.
Okay. And which episodes did
They
play?
showed an episode of season 2.
Okay.
Um,
Was it the award-winning one?
I don't know what the award-winning one is,
Okay.
but it's one where a villain arises for the first time, and it was like, it was really interesting viewing from the perspective of someone who knows how the show ends,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing somewhat of an introduction to this character. It's like they're not the same by the end, but see, yeah, it was really interesting to see how that thing started out. But yeah, that was fine. It was only like for like 20 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and then the thing just ended early. So I just went to dinner early,
Mm-hmm.
for like a really long time, and so I sat around a group, and we just talked about some things that happened at the panels, some things that might happen in future panels. We'll see. But yeah, after that we had the Katie Lee keynote.
Well, first off, with Cookies with Connie. So that was
Okay.
kind of nice. And Phil Lawler interrupted for like 5 minutes, so that was kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just hearing her stories and such, and intimate. Yeah, it was nice. Definitely more for the diehards. If you weren't a fan of Katie Lee, not as worth it, I would say. So
I mean, the cookies, were they good?
they were nice.
Yeah.
I just wasn't feeling the best, so it
Okay.
felt too much. But they were good, I think.
Okay.
Anyways, dinner, and then we had the keynote with Katie Lee. She talked about kind of like a bit of her history and just how he works all things together.
That was a nice story,
That was a nice story.
you know.
It was a little, the keynote itself was shorter than I expected, but
A little bit
worked.
disorganized, because, you
A
know,
little
she's a bit disorganized, but it's an entertaining disorganization.
yeah, it was entertaining, disorganized. Yeah, I feel like that's part of, even though she herself said she's not super comfortable being on stage, but she has enough of that performance aspect and maybe even some improv background that it wasn't that
I love her camaraderie.
Especially with Phil Lawler.
Yeah, with Phil Lawler
I
and
mean,
the other writers. And
That was so entertaining.
it
man.
was.
That I could have sat there for more
Yeah.
longer.
Especially when she was talking about how she got, like, a new stereo to listen to her cassettes.
Yeah,
And, like, Phil was just
interrupted.
he's just doing this bit where it's like, cross his arms, just like, I'm gonna take a nap now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a look at my watch. And he's just so, it's just an entertaining duo that they were doing.
Yeah.
I loved it.
If they got on for much longer, I would have loved that.
I know, but you know,
They had to cut it off, man.
like it went. I mean, that thing was like an hour and a half, which is long. But it's like, oh my gosh, it
Felt
was,
so short.
and they went even longer than their time slot.
Yeah. They were like, one more question. They went on for like 10 more minutes.
They did.
It was beautiful.
It was beautiful. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You learned some things.
Yeah.
Some things that you don't really know about it. You know, I would like to show Odyssey to my kids.
Yeah.
Definitely. For sure.
Sweet.
Have them have the life I didn't have.
Yeah. I'm glad, honestly, that you had that perspective.
Yes. But then, of course, they had the selfies,
Mm-hmm.
which is a long line.
Yeah, what did you do? Well, so what I did, this is what I've learned. Don't wait. No, I'm not saying cut the line. I'm saying don't wait. That's like with Conville. Like, everyone's so anxious to leave that there's such a long line. And so my strategy is I'm not going to wait. Not that I rush out, but I'm going to interact where I am. I go up and talk with my friends at the Worship Collective. Maybe the speaker.
Okay.
Maybe friends who are around me. I'm going to talk with them, hang out, and then try to leave. And there's still a line. I could have wasted my time 15 minutes in a line or spent 10 of those minutes talking with people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of the perspective I had there. I saw a ridiculously long line, which makes sense.
The line went by really quickly, though.
It did. And so when I saw it get short, I jumped in the back.
Gotcha.
When there were only like 2 people waiting in line.
Okay.
Like, see? I utilized that time doing other more productive things instead of just like, oh, yeah, I'm going to
And so during that line, I talked with some people, got to know each other a
Wait,
little
did
bit.
you wait in line?
I went in line, yeah.
Oh, you got your pictures?
I got my pictures. I mean, they're industry guests, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I know other people like them,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's like, sure, I want to get pictures with them. Like, how often? When's the next chance I'll get to take a picture
Fair.
with some of those people?
Fair.
Even if I don't really know them personally, they're still important enough
Yeah. That's fair.
that I
It's still funny to me.
I want to take the picture.
Yeah.
And it's free, you know?
Yeah.
I could just, you do that. And so I just chatted with someone online for a bit, gave each other some encouragement about our professions and whatnot. And so that was fun. Afterwards, I just fooled around.
Did you go to...
The 2-hour writing competition performances.
Did you go to that?
I did.
All right. I had to interview a few people for my class, and then I basically talked to JD during that period.
You were interviewing a lot of people.
I interviewed a few people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I talked to JD because like I wanted
I saw that.
to finally like talk to him because we hadn't been able to talk to yet. So yeah, I didn't go see the performances. How were they?
They're alright. I mean, they had like an hour to write these small plays.
Yeah.
Which they're not the best plays, but you know what? Whatever.
Yeah, I guess like if you were to do something more like that, you should have given more time. But at the same time, because the convention is so short, you would be detracting from other things.
Sure. And
so honestly, personal thought. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Okay.
Maybe they shouldn't have done that. They should have stuck with the new works, and the new works enough weren't good enough. So who makes you think that this 2-hour rank?
I mean, some of them had potential charm.
They did,
but it's like all of them kind of ended short for me. Which makes sense. You get 1 hour to write it, 1 hour to direct it with the Foley as well. And so you do that. It was okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like the new works idea was better than this 2-hour thing.
Because new works, you had more time to write it.
Exactly.
If you took the time to write it.
Yeah.
Which I did, for the most part. But
How many performances were given?
Oh, I want to say there were like 9.
9?
Yeah.
Wait, how short were these? Like 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Bruh, if they were 5-minute performances, then they should have been better. Okay, now I get it. If it's a 5-minute show.
Yeah, they had like a lot of really small performances.
Okay, then there had to been something decent. A 5-minute show. It's not 10 minutes.
Well, maybe less than 5. I don't know, but it's like it wasn't a long. But some people had some decent potential.
Okay.
When it comes to comedy, yeah, there's like one that like stood out. That was like, oh yeah, that's good comedy, especially with the performance. That it worked out well. After that, we had the rehearsals for the new works, which we only had like half an hour for each one to do. But I had to wait because I was the last group to rehearse. So I went to the commuter lounge where they showed.
Wait, so you left near the end? You left near the end?
Like
I didn't even notice.
The competition like ended early.
Oh.
Or no, like it ended, but I still had like an hour before I had the rehearsal. So I just walked around and I just saw this group. It was like, hey, let's go to the lounge. I was like, what the heck? So I went with the lounge. They showed off Abide, which I thought was an interesting program.
Yeah. Like, I think my brother was kind of laughing at the concept. Like, listen, there's already a market for this. And to have it biblically grounded, I think is a super idea. It's probably not my thing, but there's a market for it. I mean, obviously because he showed it, but also just in general, with the general scape as it is, there's a market for it.
Yeah.
So super cool. If they're making money, hallelujah, praise God.
Yeah. And then, they were saying like it's $40 a year, and it's like, oh, $40. Which I get what they were saying, but it's like I wonder if they have an option for monthly, because I would better accept a monthly option than just one large price.
I agree with that.
So I don't know, because they never mentioned a monthly price.
What's 40 divided by 12? All right, so 36 would be 3.
Okay.
Right, 3. So we'll say it's about $3.50, and that's a terrible.
Or let's just say it's $4 a month, because they usually
$4 a month.
Because usually they'll up the price a bit.
Yeah, so
monthly.
So if they had that option, that looks more appealing.
it's more appealing.
And then they had the save how much % off by getting a year bundle.
That's worked.
Yeah.
So yeah, we both signed up for a drawing that we don't know when.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, I signed up for like the thing.
Yeah, I was considering it, but then I'm like, you know what? Some other people will appreciate it more than I will.
So I don't think I'll use it, but it's like if I get it, I might check it out.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then
But also they have enough free stuff that I could try it out if I wanted to.
yeah, but it's like it doesn't hurt for me to sign up
That's
and
true.
try it.
When it's come to giveaways, there's some things where I'm like, you know what? Some people will want this more than me, and so
But
I'll let them.
they say like, oh, we're giving like away 10, and so I was like, oh, they're giving away 10.
Yeah.
All right, I can do that.
Who knows? Probably only 12 entered anyways.
I know, which is why it's like, oh, I have a higher chance of getting it.
True.
So-
That's fair.
Sure, I'll try that.
Yeah. So I went in there because JD went there. Yeah, that's pretty much why. Because like his partner, who's not, by the way, part of ATC, they're friends. They work together, but the other ATC guys can come. He went to do the Gunsmoke thing, the listening lounge.
Oh, gotcha.
JD ideally was supposed to do it, but like John Fornoff stopped by JD and he's like, "Hey, if you could come and see this, that'd be really awesome."
Mm-hmm.
And JD's like, "Michael, you do the listening lounge," and because originally Michael was supposed to do it anyways, kind of like head it. So JD's like, "Yeah, I'll check this out." So
Okay.
I went with him. So yeah, we talked for a bit, some more. So
Mhm.
yeah, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool. And then, of course, we finally had the rehearsals, which were just for half an hour.
Mhm.
And, like, it was fine. We did a fine job. Back, like, rehearsals, the mics were actually working during rehearsals.
It's like last day they're like, give it up for the sound team, and I clapped so reluctantly because
It's
like,
like-
gosh, you guys failed so many times.
They failed.
It's freaking SonicCon.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's a shame that like they failed because they do excellent work.
Yeah,
Like a lot of it, it's like a lot of it is also not in their power.
Yeah.
Like things happen all the time, especially in this theater. It happens all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like the best you can do is just replace the battery and just hope.
I mean, like in the end, like I kind of get that. Like some things were out of their control, but at the same time, there were like even sometimes when it's like they had this like silence microphones, and Nelson comes out like the Worship Collective. Or no, wait, the Worship Collective. That's just a go-to line. But basically, like he goes out and start talking, but you can't hear him because his microphone's not on, and just like turns on in the middle of the sentence. Like you should be a little more prepared than that. But
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know.
I don't really know who was running it.
I wasn't there. I wasn't a part of it. I can't defend nor give proper criticism. All I know is what happened, and I hope that things will go better next time.
Oh, yes, if there's next time.
Which a lot of people want there to be next time.
I want there too, but I let's think. I'm gonna talk about this later at the end.
Yeah, let's talk about it later because I heard some stuff from Nelson, and so I could give some insight in regards to that.
Okay,
So.
well, I just heard someone made a joke briefly that I don't know if you know Melanie Ernst.
No.
She was like the main media person
Mm-hmm.
running everything for SonicCon. Like she was answering the questions through the emails. She was in charge of all that, and so like she made a joke about something which makes me think, oh okay, if I'll explain that later. But
We'll
yeah,
get to it.
we had rehearsals for half an hour, which is fine. It was fine. Which I had a fun interaction with John, because it's like
Fornoff.
yeah, Fornoff, because it's like I'm John. It's like yeah, I'm John. I'm John. And then I turn my thing. It's like, oh, you're John. So it's like it was a small.
John Fornoff seems like a really great guy. I wish I could have really talked with him.
I also wish his mic worked.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, we move on to Sunday
Uh-huh.
morning, which we had the church service, which
Mhm.
I
Was
I
late.
showed up late.
So basically, Phil Lawler basically talked about like
Story.
story.
That was the main thing I got.
But basically, like how it even applies to our lives. He had some really good points. I didn't take any notes because, first off, I don't really like taking notes because when I take notes, I get distracted, and I completely zone out because I'm trying to write down my notes.
Yeah.
And I come back in like, where are we now? I don't really like taking notes, but he had some really good things that are very note-taking worthy or whatever. But just like how our lives are basically a story, and I don't know, man. It's just really good stuff, and I hope like even someone afterwards is like, you should write a book on this, and Phil Lawler isn't opposed to that idea. It might take some time, but it's really like interesting stuff and interesting. It was more philosophical than spiritual, because I kind of got the vibe that Phil Lawler is very philosophical. Not to say he's not spiritual, but just especially with this whole thing about story, it's like he's going to take advantage of it. So it was really intriguing stuff. I wish I could expound more on it, but
Yeah.
it is really like it makes you think about your life. Like, my life is a story.
Yeah. Make the best
And
of it.
like, also like, with when you have like the adversities and such, and like, all right, so like, how did this happen? Like, it's nothing happens at random. Like, that makes that's a bad story whenever something randomly happens, right? In our lives, everything, there's always like that cause and effect. But
Yeah.
it was good stuff.
And of course, I show up late.
You showed up late.
Yeah, I mean, I woke up early,
Mm-hmm.
but it was like too early. But it was like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired.
Yeah. So you went back to the bed.
I went back to bed. And it's like,
I don't blame
you know what? It's just a makeshift church.
The worship, I wasn't crazy about.
I don't really care for worship anyway, so it's like I'll just.
You're a bad Christian.
Thank you. I'll at least miss the worship. But yeah, I came in like the last, I want to say 15, 20 minutes.
Like, he gave like the 5-minute overview at the end.
Yeah.
So.
15, 20 minutes is when I came in last.
Mhm.
And you know what? I got the gist of his message, and it's a good message.
It was.
I wasn't the only person who showed up there late. It was someone else who I was following with, and he also had the same idea where he woke up early, and it's like, no, it's too early. Because I went to bed at like 2 in the morning, so that's about 6 hours of sleep that I had.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just church. Which, is just...
The kicker for me was Phil Lawler. So.
Yeah. Which, that's fine. And then, you had lunch. I don't know if we had lunch, but
I did.
I did
with
some
my family.
I did some practice for the new works, and then we finally had the new works, which they were okay.
Which of the three was the best?
I think I don't want. I want to say like I like mine, the part of my group, but there are some issues with that one. I think that there could just be more substance to it because, like they said, for our group, because this is like the first episode of a series this guy's planning, they don't have a whole lot put into this. Like, they don't have a whole lot of action going on. It's basically just introducing ourselves to our main character and what he's going to do, and then end it there. Versus these ones, the Superhuman Resources is probably the one I'd say is better because it's a more comedic piece, which is...
I came in near the end of that, so I missed most of it, but
But I would kind of agree that... Now, first off, was I crazy about it? Not really, because
No,
I was
'cause
late for it.
it didn't really have a great story. I also felt like they ended...
But it felt like a better pilot episode than yours.
Sure, I would also think so. My main disappointment for like most of these were like they were trying to be pilots of like a series of things.
Mariah's wasn't.
I know, which is the good thing about it was that it's a one-off,
Yeah.
but it wasn't the best one-off.
It really
Performance-wise, not so great.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like I talked to Mariah and like she knew that it wasn't the best. Like she's like, I'm gonna submit things, and then hers got picked, and then especially like after attending Phil Lawler's masterclass, she's like, yeah, I could have been way
like
better.
I think if the performance was better, I think I'd enjoy the script more.
Yeah, the dad
because-
was so flat.
Yeah, because like while he was like sitting there talking, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna get ready for like. I'm gonna warm up my body, get myself ready for the next thing, because it's like
Yeah.
I don't really understand what's going on here.
I was
Like he's digging, okay, he's telling the story. I don't really care about what's going on. Like I'm not intrigued by the performance aspect of it. So, which is a really shame. Because I don't really know Mariah, so.
We have a class together.
Oh,
so.
that's nice.
Yeah, she was really thankful by the feedback from Phil Lawler.
Mm.
I was really kind of getting afraid, like, man, he's going ham on this.
He was really going ham on it. But it's good criticism.
It was. But at the same time, if that was me after like 10 minutes, I would have been like, guys, it was like he went on for like 20 minutes. So.
Yeah.
And like for yours, like he went ham on the research part.
Yeah,
which was solid.
Which was solid, but I think
it did get a little long. But I really appreciate the fact that he went into his own past.
Yeah, he went into that research aspect.
And like he alleviated.
But I do think that my writer wasn't trying to be historical.
Uh-huh.
He wanted to have it stylized.
But at the same time, if you're bringing in historical elements like that, you need to make it. You can't overcomplicate it. You know what I mean? So if you were to do something like that idea at the Pony Express, but a married man, different timeline, then you need to create something new.
Yeah.
Based upon the concept of the Pony Express.
Which I think the new stuff happens later in the series.
What new stuff?
Like new stuff to make this thing different happens later because it doesn't happen in the first episode.
But I agree with what Phil Lawler said. Yeah. You had to you had to really set things up right away. Mm-hmm. Like you had to. It's not just building upon here are our characters. Here's the adversity that the person needs to go through, and so on with that. With what makes this Pony Express different must have been distinct enough, because obviously we all thought of Pony Express. Right?
I don't know what it was.
Well, but immediately Phil Lawler's like, this is not the historical Pony Express.
Okay. Which is I was surprised. It was like, how do you know the history of the Pony Express?
I guess he's done his
Gunsmoke,
research.
I guess, that episode, that parody, I guess.
Well, no, he wasn't there, though.
Was he not?
No, he was at Abide.
Okay.
He was sitting with
No. I'm talking about, when writing that Gunsmoke parody episode.
Did he? Talking about the Young Guns, but...
Well, no, CJ was talking about one of his favorite episodes was, the parody episode of Gunsmoke.
Okay, but that wasn't about the Pony Express.
No, but, he would definitely, research that time period.
Makes sense.
For that, which, makes sense. But, yeah.
But, yeah, I really did appreciate the fact that he went to his own history. Is those were, he went
nice.
hard on himself. He's like, I had the Coliseum built at the wrong time. I mispronounced something when, the person who knew was, right under my nose. That's, that's difficult criticism, and that he now has to deal with as history. It's these are things I could have done. And he just emphasized part about research. Do I hate research? Yeah, it's more I just don't like writing papers, and Indian also I'm not a storyteller, so
yeah.
But still, it's important to remember that even a simple Google search is helpful.
Yes, and so yeah, my writer, I think he has a nice idea. He definitely has a lot of backstory he has for the characters behind the scenes, because he talks a lot, because he was talking about the backstory of my character, then for 5 minutes, and he goes about 50 minutes talking about the other characters, while it's just a one-on-one session with me about my character. And I'm just I'm kind of zoning out.
Yeah.
Because it's yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
He likes to talk about these things. He's very passionate about
his
projects.
Cool. Yeah, but at the same time, I agree with Lawler that he should have had a better setup in the first episode.
Sure. But yeah, the performance, I think our group had the best performance-wise.
I can't compare to the first, but to the second, I agree.
Yeah, performance-wise, because we were more experienced in this. Because we pretty much everyone there was a part of the encounter except for John. But the sad part was two of us, our mics weren't working.
Yeah,
which was a shame, because the one of the main actors, for the wife, she was giving an excellent performance. Because, I was sitting, 2 seats away from her, and I'm hearing her performance. And I'm wow, that's pretty good.
Did you know her mic was off?
No. Because, for me, from where I'm sitting, it sounds all right. And then she's just oh, your mic was off. I'm No,
Aw.
you didn't hear that stellar performance? No, I was getting emotional. Like I was smiling when she was doing her parts. I don't know if you saw that, but I was really.
I was laughing during your parts because your performance was fun, and like you were like the only actor I felt like who actually like got praised for the performance. They were like, "I liked you." Remember?
Yeah.
They were really like, and I feel like part of it is because of your name.
It's like,
but
oh,
also-
you fit that character.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, of course, my name. Like, I was waiting for that thing to come
Yeah.
up. It's like they announced my name. Someone, I want to say it's Phil.
Yeah.
He called out,
Like,
questioned, like John Lennon,
In the flesh.
and like I smiled at that because
Yeah.
it's like while I'm tired at that, I still like the anticipation of
Yeah.
that, like make someone else happy by
Yeah.
that. But yeah, that was enjoyable. Then Katie, she calls me out, which I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Because like, oh, I think you're John Lennon, right? Like, yes. It's like, yes, I enjoyed that.
So I was really happy because like I did feel like there was an issue where your voice kind of did shift a little bit.
I think so too.
That was a little annoying or upsetting, but
Shift in what manner?
like either a pitch or gruffness.
Yeah,
One of
like
those.
there's one where I'm just talking normally, and then I yell at someone, and of course when I yell,
But no, you had like two scenes.
I had
And,
two scenes.
Comparing those two scenes, there was a shift,
There definitely was, because it's like
and then there were one or two actors.
because
who sounded
I was
similar.
trying to not focus on my voice, because like what she was saying with the dad scene from the other one, like he was focusing on his voice, which just made himself dull. But me, it's like, okay, I'm not gonna focus on my voice. I'm gonna focus on the performance
That makes sense.
while keeping the southern accent. And so it's like, hey Isaiah, how you doing? Just whatever. But the main thing for me was just like, not you, Airman. That yelling at Airman, which is a shame that they didn't get the joke because I thought it was a fun joke.
What was the joke?
The joke was that the character refers to them by their last names, but there's a character whose first name is Stewart, and our main character's name is Isaiah Stewart.
Oh, was that in the that the writer himself confessed that he didn't explain?
Yes, which is
Yeah.
it's a real shame because I enjoyed that moment, and it's like it's my moment
Yeah.
that I'm doing it. It's like, oh, it's not well set up though, because the audience doesn't know that this guy's name is Stewart.
Yeah.
Because I just yell at him and call him Airman. Okay, well, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens. It's a radio drama. Things are different when you write things.
Yeah.
So they do that. We have the results for the voice characters. Which,
No. That was in the closing session. So we got
no. We did that first before
No,
the closing.
we
We did.
no way.
We did. Because the closing of the Sonic Chronicles.
No, we did the cartoon and then Sonic Chronicles. and
No,
then
we
it was
did not.
again.
No, we didn't.
No, we went straight from the New Works to the Gold
Yes, we
Miners.
did. Sorry, I now remembered because someone was wearing the costume. Yeah, sorry, you were right. You're right. But after that, we had what I would say is the best part of this entire convention. Like, this is the best way to end a convention because this was a really good performance and a really nice script. It was so funny. I loved it. Which is the Gold Miners Christmas live radio drama.
I was like, I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
So like it had me like tied up in my brain half the time. So I feel like if I saw it a second time, I would appreciate it more for what it is. But I feel like I was trying to figure things out too much as listening to it. After you watch Inception. I'm kidding. But but as I was like digesting it and hearing their thoughts, like, okay, yeah. So for what it is, that was fun.
Mm.
It was fun.
It was really fun. And I'm so glad that they ended the convention that way.
Yeah.
Because, like, you got to end it with a bang.
Yeah.
And
That was a bang.
That was a bang. And then there's a nice second half bang with the Sonic Chronicles.
Did you like that?
I enjoyed it.
I was confused half the time. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
so am I. But it's like, I don't really care. it's just this fun thing with the audience,
Mm-hmm.
which is nice.
Yeah.
And of course, the audience participation.
Yeah.
Were you there for that?
Yeah.
Okay, that was
That was
fun.
fun.
That was fun to record.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hope we finally get that uploaded, and also,
Hopefully.
you know, I can't wait for the pictures whenever they upload those.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was quite surprised that like the con ended and we just mingled. And we mingled with the industry guests. Like
Yeah.
they were there too.
Yeah.
That never happens at a convention.
I really appreciate that they were there.
Yeah.
You know? It wasn't like, all right, we are highly mighty, let's go backstage. Did Katie leave a little early? Yeah. But,
But she was there for like a while
yeah,
before
and,
she
and
left.
plus she was tired. Like,
And that makes sense.
yeah. So, like, I really don't blame her.
Mhm.
But, like, yeah, most of the people, like, Marshall Younger was interacting with people. JD was there. Phil Lawler was there.
You know, I got the
I didn't see Todd Bastide either Saturday or Sunday.
Mm.
But, like, you know, these people were just there.
I
talking
think
with
no, I
people.
think I saw Todd Saturday.
You did?
He came to master classes
Okay.
because he was the thing I love about the Odyssey people is because they kept following each other to
Yeah.
each other's panels and they would interact with them, which was great. But yeah, I got to talk with Josh Nicholson a bit,
Sweet.
which was really nice.
Yeah.
Got a picture with him.
How long has he been in the industry?
He said
He's a little young. Is he, like, in his 30s?
he started. He's been in the industry for 14 years.
14 years.
He started in 2006.
Okay.
But he's been young in the industry, and he's been in commercials that I've seen.
Hmm.
So that's
Okay,
That's
that's
neat.
cool.
Because like they showed clips from his thing, and I saw that one commercial. And it's like
Yeah.
I bought that product. So that,
You did your job right.
yeah, I bought that product. Man, that's great. So yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
Just a quick interaction.
And also, I was, again, with the Gold Miners Christmas, the panel really enjoyed it.
yeah.
Which I was not going to lie surprised.
Hmm.
Because I thought they would maybe complain about, like, a few aspects, and they didn't really. Which surprised me after going ham on the other three.
But I think it's like they enjoyed it so much.
Mm-hmm. And also, Phil Lawler just understood it was a heist. It was meant to be crazy.
Yeah.
And so, like, just how Phil Lawler understands, like, stories
Hmm.
that aided with that positive feedback.
Yes.
I was looking at JD some parts. I'm like, I don't really see him smiling or laughing that much, but he seemed to enjoy it, so that's cool.
But it's like people respond differently because me,
Right.
I'm smiling, but I'm
Mhm.
also just watching as well,
Yeah.
like I do.
And again, I agree with Phil Lawler. The best line was, let's go up to Chinny. I already tried that. It didn't work. That was, had me going.
That's a fun line.
That was like, I love that line
Yeah.
so much. That was hilarious.
And then of course the Foley people,
Yeah.
like I love them because
Yeah.
I know all of them, and so yeah, I just love what they're doing.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Ian like stabbing those balloons.
Yeah.
Like balloon murder. That was
And when he missed that one balloon, that made it
yeah.
even
Because
better.
like before the gold miners, they were showing like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I just see the quick thing of him stabbing balloons. It's
Yeah,
like,
they surely cut that out, not gonna lie.
it's like I saw that. And it's like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
And so like I was waiting for it to happen. I was not disappointed
Yeah.
because it's like, yeah, I want to see it twice.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that. So yeah, the con ended. I left.
Can I say I didn't see that PDF? No, we'll look at it after the podcast. What? Which, by the way, let me see the time. I'm curious how long have we recorded.
Well, we recorded for an hour 40 minutes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we've been talking. Yeah, SonicCon, like we've been talking about every day, so there's
Yeah.
a lot of things to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
There's some small things that we didn't mention
Yeah.
that we don't really remember
Yeah.
because there's really no point in talking about that.
Yeah.
For the most part, this was our experience
Mhm.
with the convention.
This was fun.
I really enjoyed it, and so let's talk about the how did this convention hold up? Do you think?
I feel like what really made it hold up was the people.
Yeah.
Because of them, they made this worth going to. Not just the industry guests, but the attendees.
Yeah.
And like this was. For me, it's weird because I've just been out of this world for a while.
Yeah.
So, like, if I was, like, I didn't have the best questions or anything because, like, I've been, like, so out of it and such. Just so, like, I'm just, like, stepping in back for a bit. So it was a little weird for me, but like so many people loved it, enjoyed it, and we'll get to like the potential future of this. But yeah, what about you?
I enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, and meeting JD, awesome. Anyways, go on.
But you know, like I've had experiences going to conventions before.
Yeah.
With BronyCon, of course. And so I'd say they were a bit rough to start out with, like with organization, because like we didn't know that these things were happening unless you were looking closely, which or following people, which is things you have to do. But overall, I enjoyed the community aspect of it because it's a small community. I don't think we've reached 200 people. I want to say we at least made 100. 200, we're kind of pushing it. I don't think we made that far.
I feel like it's gonna grow if there's an next
if there is next one.
Especially, I feel like more guests will come.
But yeah,
industry guests.
James Arnold Taylor, I wanted him to come. I forgot to mention this. Yeah, he wasn't here. He had to cancel because of COVID, and then he didn't have a virtual appearance. He instead recorded a video.
Which I'm just glad he did.
I'm glad he did. And he said in the video that he really wanted to come to university, which I want him to come too, and so did a few other people. So I hope he does come and present to us theater students. I want to learn him. I want to meet the guy. I love the guy. And yeah, for the next convention for SonicCon, if they do it, I don't think they would do it for next year. I don't think, because this year was a bit rough, so they have to like make back some planning and some money for some things. And so I think if they were to do it, they would do it at 2022. Because there was a joke that Melanie Ernst said while she was like moderating a panel or something. And she was like, oh yeah, like maybe next time. It's like, yeah, it's SonicCon 2022. And I just thought, 2022? That's a very odd date. You skipped a year there. Is that likely when it's going to happen? Maybe, because she's the event coordinator. So she works hand in hand with Nelson. So she probably knows, like, what it takes so far. So likely makes sense for 2022 if we go back to the spring schedule, if we do that.
Right.
What were your behind the scenes information?
So, like, Nelson was kind of saying, you're gonna make me distracted.
Okay, sorry.
Nelson was kind of saying a similar thing, of like, ideally that was kind of the hope that if they could do it again, it would be in 2 years. But then it was John Fornoff who basically said, no, if you're to do this again, you need to do it next year because you're going to be carrying over that momentum.
Yeah.
And it's not just him who's expressed interest of doing this again. A lot of the attendees were like, we hope this happens again.
Yeah.
Like, people are saying this is a historic convention. And to, I mean, here, at the very least, like, if they have to wait till 2022, at least they will do it. But I feel like there may be enough pressure that they will have to do another one, whether it's 21 or 22. And especially with the corona stuff, I feel like that's also going to be a factor, is to see like how the corona stuff will play out. If it's still going to be a lot of these lockdown, mask distancing things, then it's kind of going to discourage the next one from happening sooner. But this one went off pretty well. Not to say there was really a lot of distancing, but people pretty much had to wear masks, even though not everyone really did that. Like, there was enough distance where people felt comfortable. So, like, I can't necessarily say everyone followed the guidelines to a T, but we did, we did so in a respectable way. Yeah, it's like, again, some of these guests, they said that they would come again. And they would hope that it would happen again. Yeah. And Nelson basically said what it is for him is that he has to convince the university that's a good idea. It's not necessarily the finance thing that's the issue. It's the fact that, did this make a good impact? And so what he told JD is, like, if you can, conjure some testimonials, like find testimonials from people and like send them to me, this will aid in this happening again. Because the university will have to see not necessarily did this make a profit, but more or less, is this worth doing again based upon the audience.
I can guarantee this did not make a profit.
Yeah.
Because Nelson said, in order to break even, we need to have like 200 attendees, which would have been the case in March, but not in the fall. Which is a shame, but you know what? It's an expectation with conventions. I think that Nelson was very ambitious with his first ever convention.
And he did well.
He did really well.
And also, like, I heard, like, from two of the Kayleys on the staff, they said that they even felt like it went better in October than it would have in March. Because they had more time to plan out things.
That's good. Because, looking back in experience, there's a lot of conventions that try to go big in the first time, but they fail miserably. And it's disastrous.
Yeah, this time, there was a balance of, like, they brought in some big people because they knew that would be needed in order to bring the attendance, but also it wasn't, like, completely overblown where it would have been out of control. Were there some missteps? Yeah, but
sure,
it went well for what they tried to do.
Yeah. And I would go again.
Yeah,
I would. Yeah, I would.
So honestly, like, I was thinking, like, the first time or this time, like, I'm kind of going because I'm here at Liberty and because I want to meet a couple people or whatever. Now, next time around, I'm actually, like, if I'm not local, I would actually want to come and travel here to come if I'm able to.
Even though, like, me, I said I was kind of done with conventions after the final BronyCon. I want to come here.
Yeah.
Part of it is because
it's not going to be huge.
Well, it's not huge, but for me, the reason why I really came to this was because it's close by. I live like 10, 15 minutes away from this place. I could go.
Yeah.
Heck, it was simple. And so that was a big thing. That was good to have. I didn't have to travel the places and have to wait hours in lines for things. It was nice and close by. Can't wait for James if he does come.
Yeah.
We needed James. We need other people as well. So yeah, I would enjoy a second convention. With regards of doing it every 2 years, I think that for that to be successful, you need to be a big name. Because Star Wars, their main convention is every other year, but because it's such a big convention name, they're sold out all the time, so it works for them. But yeah, every year is a consistent thing for conventions, and it works nicely because there's this momentum, like you said, of it's like, okay, it's this time of year again. We want to happen. Hopefully, this time next year, we actually have it on fall break so that we're not mingling with other college students in the same building. Because that also gets distracting. It's like, okay, you part of this? No, you don't have a thing. It also helps with parking as well.
True. My main issue is the fact that because this is hosted on Liberty grounds, I wish more Liberty people came. So if it's going to be over fall break, less students will have the incentive of coming. It was already sad enough that not a lot came. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it may be worse.
Yeah.
If it's over break. But at the same time, I get what you're saying.
Part of it is like, I enjoyed this convention, but I still had schoolwork that I have to do.
True. Yeah, I know that too.
That's like, I put that off for this. Even though they weren't really necessarily due right away. It's still something you gotta do ahead of time. And I didn't do it because I was at this convention.
Yeah.
Which, if you were to do this like at a break, you don't have to worry about the school and stuff.
True.
Which is why they planned to do it on spring break. And they were planning this week to be fall break. But guess what? Coronavirus, fall break and Thanksgiving, one place. Ugh, okay. Well, that's what we have to say about this thing.
Yeah, 2 hours, man. let's give it up.
Yeah, let's give it up. I mean, this is a podcast that's like a year in the making.
Yeah.
So it definitely had to be long. It would have been longer if we had a good old CJ here.
Oh gosh, yeah.
He would have a few fun things to say.
Yeah, it would have been.
But yeah, he was very interactive with the guests. Asking questions. Which good old CJ, I love him.
Yeah, I wish I was a little more interactive, either with the guests or just meeting people. But I was kind of in my shell, so.
I mean,
with my family, that was also part of it.
Sure. Yeah, you were with your family. For me, I met more people than I thought I would. I didn't approach them. They were just like, "Hey, how are you?"
Yeah.
So yeah,
I guess main thing I wanted to meet JD, and I accomplished that.
You did that. You were very excited for that. So yeah, thank you guys for listening, and yeah, we'll see you all next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.